Hola, bienvenidos a la mesa de trick-taking con Taylor, pero Taylor no está aquí. Taylor es en Ireland y me llamo Chepe. Chepe fue mi nombre en escuela cuando he tomado español hace 10 años, 11 años. Entonces, se me olvidó muchas palabras y mi gramática no es buena. Lo siento para eso. Este es de la arriba de mi cabeza, entonces muchos errores. Hoy, este mes es nosotros y nosotros es noviembre con nosotros. Nosotros en español es we en inglés y este mes es sobre juegos que son con equipos. Y en este juego, que es Dados, de Taiki Shinzawa, mi favorita persona de trick-taking. Dados es con fixed partnerships, que la persona de detrás es contigo y la persona a la derecha y a la izquierda son en un equipo. Es solo para 4 personas. Y el gancho es, no hay tarjetas en este juego, solo hay, se me olvidó dice. No sé cómo te dice dice en español, pero solo hay dice. Y cuando tiene su mano de tarjetas, que son dice, en el primero parte de el mano, como te dice, you roll los dice. Entonces sus números son random. Lo siento, no sé cómo te dice random también. Ay, qué pena. Pero eso es el gancho. Entonces vámonos a la mesa y voy a mostrar y contar. Here we have the deck of Dados, which is just 4 suits, or 4 different colors of dice, and it's 10 in each suit. To set up Dados, each player is going to take 10 dice at random, so all of the dice will be dealt out, hidden from everyone so no one knows what suits everyone has. Then, behind their player screens, just imagine everyone has player screens, players will have their dice and they'll start by rolling them to determine the value, or the rank, of the die. So this would be like a 5 blue card. Dados is a fixed partnership game, meaning you'll be with the same person for the whole game. And how it works is it's the person across from you at the table. So those 2 portals are on the same team, and those 2 ghosts are on the same team. Dados ends when a certain team gets 66 points or more. And then at the end of that hand, where that happens, whoever has the most points wins. How you get points in the game is by capturing any 2 or any 4. So for every 2 you capture, that's 2 points to your team, and every 4 is 4 points to your team. All the other die faces, so the 1, 3, 5, and 6, aren't worth any points. So let's jump into the trick taking. So how it works is the lead player will play any of their dice. So maybe this character, Boo, will play a 1 purple. Dados is a must-follow game, so going to the left blue portal here, they have to play one of their purples if they can. The other thing, though, is you can never play the same number as a number that's already in the trick. For example here, the 1 has already been played, so the blue portal can't play their 1 purple. So they have to play either their 4 or 5, so maybe they play their 4. Coming to the top ghosts, they have to follow suit purple, so either the 1 or the 2, but as you can see here, the 1's already been played, so they can only play their 2 purple. Finally, coming to the right portal, they also have to follow suit, but as you can see, they only have the 2's in purple, and 2 has already been played. So in this case, if you can't follow suit because of the number restriction and you don't have any other color in that suit, then you can play off suit. So now the orange portal can play any of their off suit cards now. However, they still can't play the same number. So they couldn't play this 1 green because there's already a 1 purple. So maybe they just play their 5 blue. In Dados, purple is always trump. So it's either highest of the lead suit, or if there's a trump, it's highest trump. So the blue portal over here will win this trick. They'll collect it and put it in front of them, because imagine the screen is still here, right? So this is actually still open information, which might be helpful because, as you know, the dice are dealt equally, so maybe if you're keeping track of what colors are still out there, this might be helpful. As you can see in this trick, there's a 2 and a 4, so actually the portal team now has 6 points. So then maybe the blue portal will lead red. So, of course, the only options for the ghost is that other red that they have. Following suit here, the right portal will play the 2 because, again, 2 hasn't been played before and they're following suit. Coming to the bottom ghost, they don't have any red. They can play whatever they want, but they still can't play the same number, so they couldn't play any of these 5s that they have. But they notice the 2 in there, maybe they want that as points, so maybe they play their 1 trump and they'll win this trick. Fast forwarding a little bit down the road here, as you can see, this player led the 1 blue, the ghost followed with the 2 blue, and you can see that the blue portal only has 1s and 2s left. If there's no other legal thing you can do, like you only have only numbers that are already in the trick, then you can just play whatever you want. So they can just play the 2 here. Hypothetically, if the trick looked like this, where it was the 2 and the 1 that was played, and this person can only play the same number, in this weird situation where the same number has been played and they're both equally up to being 1, then it's just the first that wins it. So then you just play out all the rest of the tricks, you count up the points, and if any team has hit 66, the game would end, and whoever has the most points wins.
And now, beach thoughts. Sorry about the shaky camera and the ocean noise.
Hey, so that's Dados. It's an interesting game. I think interesting as in conceptually interesting, not interesting as in good game interesting. I think everyone I played with didn't really like it. Yikes. But, you know, I think there were some moments, some interesting design aspects.
And more beach thoughts.
The team side of it wasn't very interesting. You don't like pass cards or dice. You don't interact with your teammate too much. They're never on the hammer, so you don't like lead low to set them up to, you know, take the trick or something. I honestly felt like it was a team game because it's so crazy and chaotic and random that you almost need 2 people working towards one goal to kind of wrangle in that randomness and that madness to kind of have a game, really. Yikes, I'm a little harsh on it. There's some interesting moments. The fact that you can't play the same number is kind of cool to work off of. So you can kind of, if you have the lead, try to play maybe a 6 or 5 and know that you'll likely win and maybe your partner can throw points, or if you play a 5 or 6, you know they can't play a 5 or 6, so they might have to play a 4 or a 2, which is awesome. And maybe you'll get some points out of the other team that way.
And more beach thoughts.
The tough thing about how it was must follow and you couldn't play the same number into the trick made it so the options were super limited. You really only had 1 or 2 options when you were following suit or following the lead in the game. I found that unless I had the lead, my choices were just so on rails that the game kind of played itself. I didn't really have too many options. And here's the water, so we're gonna have to move. Anyway, not the worst game, but definitely maybe a disappointing game from Taiki Shinzawa, who I still think is one of the best designers. But this was more of an interesting idea rather than a good game. I think maybe along the lines of Count Up 21, his other kind of is this a trick-taking game? I think that one's probably a better game, honestly. This one just had more of an interesting concept than a good game. And sometimes that doesn't really carry water. Hold water? Hold. I think the phrase is hold water. But tie back to the beach. Anyway, thanks so much for watching.
Finally, I'm getting cold and some beach recommendations.
If you wanted a trick-taking game with dice, I'd say Nikosu dice. We haven't covered that yet, but it has a brilliant way of handling the randomness of dice. Everything's rolled and people draft those dice. So it's kept out in front of everyone. So while the cards are hidden and you can still kind of track the deck because the deck stays the same. The randomness in the dice is mitigated because everyone can see the cards in your hand. In Dados, it's just behind a screen and no one knows what everyone has. So it's kind of just like crazy and you don't really have any control or sense of what's going on. So I think the Kosu dice is my recommendation of a really good dice trick-taking game.